Hello everybody, and welcome to the channel again. Today I think we're going to focus on a DGA discs that are really good for the beginner player, for slower arm speeds, and maybe the older player, especially somebody like me. I've only been playing for a few years, but I'm in my 50s, mid-50s, and the higher speed discs just are not really conducive to throwing good shots. So these are what I think DGA has to offer that really will benefit a player like this. So let's start off with putters. You have your steady BLs and then your regular steadies. Now really it's up to you what you prefer. I mean, the BL stands for beadless. It doesn't have a bead on the bottom. D-line plastic's really nice. It feels really good. That's what I've taught with this one right here. But the regular steadies have a bead on the bottom, so if you like that beaded feel around your finger there, you can't go wrong with either one of them. You also have the Special Blend Matt Bell bottom stamp. They're steadies, a little stiffer, probably have a little more stability to them. I like this one as a upshot putter, throwing putter. It works really well for me. And in the steady BLs, you also have some ice steadies. Good throwing putters have a little understability to them. And there are some other special runs out there, like a Flex Pro line and stuff like that. These are more common. So really it's just about hand comfortability. So whether you like the bead or not. I prefer this for putting, the beadless. So just my opinion. What you also need is a breaker of some sort. You got an overstable approach shot disc. So this is the breaker. It's in the flex plastic. I like it for cold weather because it has a little give, better grip in the cold weather. And then you have Proline. This is a Trevor Harbolt Tour Series one. Still nice in the summertime when the weather's warm. And they also make the D-line in the base plastic. Those are nice as well. Right now they're kind of hard to find, but if you can find one, that's a great one for a beginner as well. But these are good for throwing into a headwind, putting into a headwind. I use these to putt into a headwind. And every time I have to face that, you just hold it a little bit better. You don't want to drift away on you. You can forehand them, approach shots really well with this. And if you have a bigger arm, you can really get on these and throw them far. I don't. So I don't really use these off a tee unless I have a headwind and it calls for a putter shot or something that's short and goes left hard. Then I'll throw a breaker for the most part. So as far as your mid-ranges go with DGA, I always suggest, what I would suggest starting out with is the Squall. The Squall is a good straight neutral mid-range. Has a lot of glide. It's almost a hybrid into a fairway driver. I mean, if you can learn how to throw these, you're gonna be in real good shape. Nice kind of shallow profile. This is one of the first mid-ranges from DGA that I really liked. I always carry a Squall. And again, you can get that in the Proline plastic. You can get the baseline D lines. You can get SP Squalls. They have a little more stability to them. And if you can find them, these Proline Flex, I really like these because as these beat in, they get a little understable and have a nice right hand drift to them. So I had one for a long time. It was really nice and beat in, then don't have it any longer, so I broke out a new one, working this one in. The Squall is a great place to start with the DGA mid-ranges for a beginning player or a slower arm speed player. Then what I would also suggest getting maybe is a tremor. This is a Proline tremor. You can't see the logo has been dyed. Thank you, Christine. But this is DGA's understable mid. You throw it flat, it does this. If you have a whole lot of arm speed, you always have to throw on a hyzer. Some higher arm speed guys don't throw these. But for us normal people, older guys, slower arm speed, dude, this is great. I can even throw on a hyzer, let it up, and it goes fairly straight and sometimes will drift over. If I want to throw a mid-range for a little bit of distance and an open fairway, I will throw this on hyzer, and it just kind of does this real nice for me. So I like this one a lot. I can't go anywhere without tremor. And of course, on the mid-range side, you're going to need something to fight the wind. If you're a beginner, I would suggest a D-line Quake. The Quakes come in Pro Line, SP, Special Blends, and the D-Lines. These are not as stable, so for a beginner, they're going to fly real nice. They're still going to fight the wind for you. They won't be too overstable where you just kind of fly and dump. So if you're a newer player, the D-Line Quakes, these are the ones you need. So now let's get into some drivers. I would really only suggest 2 drivers if you're a new player, you know, for the most part. And really the main one I would use if I'm new, because this is just got me into DGA, because a friend of mine had gotten one, didn't like it for some reason. I threw it, I said this is a game changer for me. The sail. Anybody who knows me knows I love my sails. Pro Line sails here. I mean, they are very understable. But for some of us, they fly nice and straight. They might turn a little bit, and maybe just drop off a little bit on the left-hand side. So you can get them in Pro Line. You can get them in SP. So the SP has a little bit more stability, but not a whole lot. This is my favorite one. Shout out to Justin Moody for this one. Nice dye job. This one has a lot of dome compared to the other Pro Line. So they have some different, you know, some variability in the domes a little bit in some of the same runs, but these are really nice. If you have a big arm, you're not throwing a sail, plain and simple. And people use them as roller discs. They can't control them. You don't want to throw a sail into any kind of a headwind. It's going to turn it over hard. But a sail is really one of those, you know, when I was a beginner, my first couple of months of playing it, and I got a sail in my hand, it made a huge difference. You know, finally I was able to throw something that just kind of give me full flight. You know, with my little noodle arm, you know, I was getting them out there. Well, I thought it was a long way at the time, at 240, 250, but the sail was the first one that got me as far as the farthest I had ever thrown before. So if you're newer players, definitely throw them. Old guys too. I mean, geez, we get older, our bodies slow down, our arm speed slows down. These things are very controllable. They're touch shots. You don't have to rip on them. It's nice and smooth out of your hand, and they will just do their job. They have a lot of glide to them, so I can't suggest a sail enough for those type of players, new and older arms and slower arms. Get you a sail. Now, of course, you're going to need something with some stability to fight the winds. Forget the hurricanes if you're a newer player. Forget the torrents. Some of those faster speed stuff, you can't throw them. Plain and simple. Get you a Bonsai. Pro Line Bonsai. It's a 7-speed, 8-speed. Get you a Bonsai. Comes in SP plastic. These are kind of more of a special blend, but these are readily available. And you can throw this into a headwind, fights it, and maybe drifts off a little bit. If you're developing a forehand game, you can forehand these nice, and they really work nicely. So again, newer players, lower speeds, use this as your stable driver, and don't worry about it. I mean, guys can crush these. The big arms can crush these 450. So I know I can't, but they're a great overstable driver for a newer player, slower arm speed, older guys, whatever. And they feel good too. You know, you don't have a big wide rim. They feel nice if you have a smaller hand, like I kind of do. I can't say enough of it. So if you just took these 2 out here as your drivers, you'd be in good shape. You know, along with your mid ranges, you don't need anything more than that as a beginning player. So that's what, 4 or 5 discs, and so you don't confuse yourself. You don't start overthinking the shots. Now, as you get up a little bit more in skill level, like for me, my wind disc, my real true hard wind disc is a Rogue, but that's an 11-speed. I don't throw that unless I am throwing into a much harder headwind where I need something that'll cut through a little bit more than the Bonsai will. But other than that, if it's just a weaker headwind or something I know would turn the sail over, definitely throw in the Bonsai. You also can't go wrong with the Pipeline. But if you're a beginner, the Pipeline might be a little bit too much, where the sail, I think, will give you a better flight. Now, as you grow a little bit, the Pipeline will definitely get there for you, and then you can start throwing Pipeline Bonsais, perfect complement to each other, and keep the sail in there for when you have much more wide open fairways. But like I said, as a beginner, definitely sail, bonsai for your drivers, D-line quake, tremor, squall, and then your breaker, steady BL, or a steady, whatever one you like. You feel more comfortable throwing and putting with. So hope this helped out a little bit. If you're trying to figure out what to throw as a beginning player, that's what I threw early on for those discs, and then you can start graduating some other things like undertows and whatever. But this is the base. I think this is a good starting point if you're interested in DGA. I mean, go to discgolf.com. You can order them there. Favorite retail, all that good stuff. Go out there and throw some DGA. Thanks.